So this is my 2018 Nukeproof Mega Pro bike check. So for 2018, Nukeproof have revamped their whole range with new geometry and in some cases new frame materials. So there's a carbon fibre model of the Mega available in the 27.5 wheel, but actually I wanted a 29-inch wheel bike. Like a lot of people have wondered why I wanted the alloy bike, but it's purely because I wanted to ride the bigger wheels. So this is an XL, and this is one of the biggest XLs you can buy as a stock bike. In the past there's been some really other long bikes on the market, like Mondraker for example, and the new Scott bike, but this is even longer. So this has got 515 reach on it, so that's one of the longest available on a size XL bike, hence why I'm running it with a nice short stem. It's got roughly a 678mm top tube, so again, nice and roomy. There's a lot of room in this bike, 450mm chainstays, so it's a very neutral riding position between the two wheels there. So like last year's model, the cable routing runs on top of the down tube. It's really neat and easy to operate. And there is just a slight sort of hole on the bottom of the seat tube here just to pop up the internal cable routing for the dropper post. Out back it's very slightly different. You've got a wider main pivot now, so it's one by specific. You can't really run this with a front mech on there, but why you would on a bike like this, I don't know. It's got the boost spacing, so it's 12 by 148 out back. So it does make it slightly stiffer, but more importantly, it gives you better clearance, it gives you a better chain line. So the seat angle is a fairly climbing friendly 75.5, so it keeps your weight pretty neutral on the bike, but you pair that with the long chain stays, you've got immense traction, and the front wheel never wants to wander or climb, so that's a really good thing. Up front you've got 66-degree head angle, which to some might not sound the slackest, but it actually flatters the bike really well. It's based around 160mm travel fork. I don't think it needs any more than that, but I know that some people riding stuff like the Mega Avalanche might want to just up it to 170 for an event like that. Out back, it's got the new Rockshox Super Deluxe shock. So this is a 210 by 55mm shock, and it's got the new sort of bearing mount at the back. So the action on this is just incredibly supple. It's completely changed the way I've had to set it up for my previous one. So on the old bike, I was running 6 bands on the rear shock. On this one, I'm only actually running 3 of the spacers on the inside, and it's quite a significant difference in feel. Obviously the rebound is a lot easier to adjust on this now as well. You've got this sort of clicker dial, and it's obviously got the compression switch here. So you've got high, medium and low. And I quite often use that medium setting when climbing just to keep the bottom bracket raised up a bit so I don't clout my feet all the time. So up to the cockpit of the bike, I'm running a 35mm Nukeproof stem on here. It actually comes with a 50mm standard. But I've got a bit of a weird sort of body shape. I've got long legs and really long arms, but upper body's quite short. So I found the 50 just that little bit too long for me. So I'll swap that out for a 35. I'm running 2 10mm spacers under it. Like it's quite a high, but I really like a high front end. And I'm running a 38mm rise bar at a full 800mm width. As with all my bike setups, I run my brake levers pretty high, certainly in comparison to Blake. You know, he likes his down and out the way for bar spins and stuff. I prefer mine quite up. It's a bit more of a moto sort of feeling position. And also I'm running the Crankbrothers Highline dropper post, and I really like having the little colour coordinated bit of grip tape on there. Obviously it looks quite nice. Blake likes his one to not stand out and runs a black one, but I like mine to stand out. It looks pretty trick. Also it's a good visual reference when you're actually just going for it. Interestingly, I do chop and change with my handlebar grip. So they're the Ergon GD1s, and I offer them in slim and thick profiles. Pretty much all the time I'll run the thin profiles, but if I'm riding a bike park, in particular somewhere Alpine or Whistler, I'll opt for the thicker grip just to have a bit more hand padding. They're both excellent grips, but you do have to play around with them to get your sort of sweet spot. So the wheels are the stock items that came on the Nukeproof, but I have set the tyres up tubeless, and the tyres are Continental DeBarons. Although they're not a dry weather specific tyre, they do hook up pretty well in the loose conditions out here in Spain, but they work especially well back home on my local trails, which is just horrible clay, to be honest. I'm running about 29 pounds in the rear, about 25 in the front, but I do go as low as 26 and 21, depending on how poor the conditions are I'm riding in. Seat-wise, it's an Ergon SM E3. This is the shortest of the range compared to some of the other seats I ride. Keeps it nice and out the way on the bike. It's got a nice flat nose. Some people are questioned why I run it slightly nose down. It's just, I kind of treat this bike as a winch to get back up the hill, and it helps me sit in a really comfortable position basically. And when it's down out the way for descending, obviously it doesn't matter too much. The post itself is a Crankbrothers Highline, and it's a 160mm drop. So transmission wise, it's a 12-speed Sram Eagle GX setup, and it's running the monstrously big 500% gear range cassette on the back here. It's just astonishing for climbing, to be honest. Up front, I'm running a 32-tooth chainring. I haven't had the opportunity to change it yet. I would prefer to be running a 34 for conditions like this, but back home you really do need that lower gearing when you're riding in pretty sloppy conditions. There's an MRP 1 chain guide up front. I'm actually going to put a bash guard on this, which I've not done yet, which I had on the bike that I took to Whistler, because I did find with the bottom bracket height of this bike and the way I like to ride some trialsy stuff, here and there I was just catching the chainring. So that's a nice little extra I'm going to add later. There's Truvativ Descendant cranks on here, and you've got Crankbrothers Mallet E-pedals in the limited edition green colour, just to kind of match in with the bike. And finally, slowing the bike down, a SRAM Guide RE brakes. Up front it's got a big 200mm rotor, out back it's 180. So there you go, that was my Nukeproof Mega 290 bike check. If you want to find out a bit about installing some volume spacers into your shock, click right down here. It tells you how to do it on Rockshox and Foxshox. And if you want to see my Canyon Spectral bike check, click down here. Of course, as always, click on the globe to subscribe. Brand new content coming at you every single day. And if you like my bike, give us a thumbs up.